Terrarian in the Dungeon, Chapter 52, Fan Fiction, by Azazyel. Please subscribe to this YouTube channel for listening and patreon.com/Azazyel to read all of his stories. After me and Belle enjoyed our breakfast, we moved to the thickly padded swinging porch bench I rigged up so I could have a nice place to relax in under the gazebo for long periods of time. Belle and I went and sat together holding hands on the swinging bench as we just saw through the morning sunlight pierce through all the ruby gem trees to fill the gazebo itself with a soft red-tinted light to see Orario's reaction to the entire property being encased in glass with trees laden with gems sparkling in the dawn's light. You think that even the gods have such nice things in the heavens? Belle asked softly as her hands squeezed in our hand-holding. For a moment I was silent before I hummed in thought as Belle's head continued to rest on my shoulder while we stared through the thick covering of the ruby gem trees at the people surrounding the property. Maybe. The gods don't really talk about Tenkai. And I don't think it's probably nice to live up there. As most gods are cruel and only care for their amusement. Hestia is obviously not in that camp, though Belle. I said hurriedly as Belle moved her head from my shoulder to look at me with a powerful pout, making me firmly move Hestia out of the camp of troublemakers. Yeah, Lady Hestia is too lazy to be cruel to people, hee. Belle giggled as she went back to snuggling against me as she spoke again. Jake, could you make it snow or something? I bet all these gem trees would look stunning if they were covered in icicles and a bed of snow was covering the ground. I shook my head wryly as to make snow or ice stuff, I needed the ice-themed tools and to say the least, summoning the Christmas event was a death sentence, to say the least. Maybe we could have Riveria blast the surroundings with her ice spell, I joked laughing at the thought with Belle snorting at the thought of the prim and serious form of Riveria acting as some kind of snow machine to cover the area. Thus, for the next few minutes, we just held hands talking softly with one another as we shared one another's company before I decided to spice it up as Belle was talking about how she first got to Orario. I gently used a finger to tilt Belle's head upwards that way I could lean down to softly kiss her on her lips, silencing her as our lips met together in an affection-filled embrace. Belle made a quick, noise as our lips came together and her hand's grip within my own tightened, but then she surprisingly swung a leg over my lap so she could straddle me and then pushed herself against me as her hands threaded through my blonde hair for a minute as we shared the passion-filled make-out session until in unison, we broke apart with her leaning her forehead against mine. Her ruby red eyes met my blue ones as we stared into one another's eyes, and an unspoken message was passed between us as we could communicate between one another merely through our body language after fighting with one another in the dungeon for a few weeks at this point. Silently we just held one another with her sitting on my lap and my face pressing into her chest as she played with my hair for an unknowable amount of time. At least until Hestia ruined our time as she came out of the tower yelling about what I had done to the property, and then further flipped when she caught us canoodling under the romantic gazebo. Belle, you traitor. Why is your first kiss with him? It's not fair. Hestia cried out dramatically as she pointed at Belle before her accusing finger swerved in the air to point at me, who still had Belle in my lap, sitting sideways. Her medium-sized chest would barely touch my face with each breath the albino beauty would take. And you? How could you seduce my precious Belle with something so beautiful as a forest of gems? How is anyone else going to compare when they hear about what you did for Belle, huh? She demanded as Belle tucked her head against my shoulder to hide her giggles at how wacky her goddess was being. But I calmly met the goddess Hestia's eyes as I spoke. For the one I am courting with the intent of building a relationship with. No amount of effort is enough. Belle is a wonderful woman, I can trust her with my life in the dungeon, I do care for her a lot, and best of all. She is a kind companion that will, above all else, do the little things to make me happier. I said softly as my arms tightened around Belle's waist. No longer was Belle hiding her face in my shoulder to avoid Hestia's demands, now she was hiding her face out of embarrassment at my words. Bah! You playboy, you probably have broken the hearts of dozens of pure maidens, haven't you to get a tongue that sly? Hestia demanded hotly, but there was no mistake that my words struck within her as she herself was blushing at the thought of someone treating her the same as to create such a beautiful place for such a date. But my dry response as I wore a sly smile made her face twitch as I leaned into Belle's chest. Nope, Belle is my first girlfriend in this life, nor have I gone out with anyone before, I said, not lying at all, as being sent here to Danmachi in a slightly younger form was a totally new life. Little Hestia, quit being so jealous, you little virgin. Seshet called at Hestia as she walked into our field of view and then she focused on me as she spoke. Jake, open up a passageway into the glass wall. We have customers that I need your help dealing with. You can mess around with your little bunny afterward. Seshet added as Belle as gracefully as she could got out of my lap and fixed the shorter skirt to her backless dress. All right. Thank you for the wonderful morning, Belle. I said, getting her attention and with her to look back up to me, and then Belle gently pinched my shirt with her thumb and hands as she leaned up on her tiptoes so she could kiss me again on the lips, with my hands going behind her to hold onto the smooth skin of her back before Hestia loudly hissed like a tea kettle about to boil over. With Hestia's warning that she was about to boil over, I left the gazebo with Belle holding my hand, and as I left, I saw our future customers and why Seshet needed my help dealing with these familias.